Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we return from Dino Hatton with bad news. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how is it going, sir?
So good. Always a pleasure to see you, Patrick.
It is always a pleasure to see you, even 3 times consecutively.
And after the aftermath of a terrible movie.
Just one of the worst. I don't think we should dally at all. We should get into our conversation with Ryan Mogge about the Super Mario Brothers movie. If you missed our first episode about it on Tuesday, those were all of our impressions before. Now we are assuming that we have all watched this movie. I am sorry. But maybe to make it better, you can borrow my copy of Sonic Forces if you're interested in that.
I mean, nothing could taste worse at this point, right?
Yeah, that's right. So this game may appear to be a masterpiece. All you need to do is email us Nintendo Cartridge Society at
gmail.com.
And I send it to you. You play it for as long as you want. You send it back. It is the perfect borrowing program, except that it is the only thing you can borrow is Sonic Forces. The other thing you can do with that email address, we are trying to compile a list or a ranking of all franchise contributions to Super Smash Brothers.
Right, and we want to determine which franchise has contributed the best.
Right, and that is both in terms of quantity and quality. Maybe there are only 4 Metroid characters in this game, and 2 of them are Samus. 3 of them are Samus. But yeah, you can say, like, hey, Ridley's there. Now it counts.
Yeah, or like, which do you value more? Do you value the quantity or do you value the quality? Pikmin has 1 character in it.
Right.
But maybe that's enough for you to be like, no, Super Smash Brothers was not Super Smash Brothers until Olimar and Lady Olimar, whatever her name is.
Right. It's not Lady Olimar. It is...
We're not going to figure it out right now.
We are not, in fact, going to figure it out right now. And I'm sure there are some Game & Watch freaks out there who are going to come at us and be like,
oh, yeah, you nasty.
You nasty Game & Watch people. Come on. You got to make your case, though. So just let us know what you think we should or should not be including in this list of the greatest contributors to the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. You can email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. Mark, there is no time like the present to discuss one of the worst movies I've seen this year. Probably the worst movie I've seen this year. Yeah, that holds. All right, let's get to it. And we are back with Ryan Mogge. We have now seen the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Whew, yeah, did we ever?
We did. We sat through it.
It's a lot of movie.
It is a lot of movie. It's 104 minutes long.
Mm-hmm. We at one point took a 10-minute break, and we needed it.
Yeah. And I'm not sure that I think we missed something in the middle. We were not clear on what happened to the big MacGuffin in the movie. But it's okay. I think we made it through. Guys, how did you obviously we didn't like this. But what are your reactions here, Mark?
I thought it was too long because I didn't like it. Like I didn't think it was good, but I wasn't in the beginning I was fine with it. It didn't seem any worse than a lot of the movies that I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
But it definitely 2 things. It outstayed its welcome. It was way too long. And 2, it's like really aggressive.
Yeah.
Because like the production design and everything is really loud
and really specific too, where like every scene, every setting looks insane.
Yeah.
And like is turned up to 11, and there are these costumes that don't make any sense and these characters that don't make any sense.
And like a lot of the movie is just people yelling at each other. Like Bob Hoskins as Mario like yells a lot.
Yeah.
And so when we took the break, it was nice because I needed like that moment of just like reset.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean the world that they go to is a terrible nightmare world, and not at all like a Mushroom Kingdom.
Well, it's not
yeah.
the Mushroom Kingdom. It's
Right.
Dino Land.
Yes.
Right,
And
Dino Hatton, I believe.
Dino
Dino Hatton.
Hatton, because it is very similar to a weird New York. I think my biggest problem with the movie is everything you're saying, how specific everything was, but they didn't choose to play on any of the. We have IP, like we know what
Yeah.
Mushroom Kingdom looks like. We know what Daisy's supposed to look like. We know what everything is supposed to be. But instead, they're like made very specific choices, none of which triggered nostalgia or comfort or
Right. If anything, it trades on what we do know to make us less comfortable.
like Toad.
Like Toad, or like when we see a Bob-omb and it's like a tiny little handheld thing. Like and like even the boots that let them jump.
Yeah.
Like it's like you sort of know what this is, but
Right.
we're going to make it something much worse.
Yeah, it makes like the fundamental mistake of any of these adaptations
Mhm.
where it's like, great, we have these characters that people like and like a world that people are used to, but let's try to reinvent all of it
Right.
instead of just like doing what works.
Right, like don't be ashamed of the thing. You know, like that's like to go back to your dad not liking the X-Men.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you should put Wolverine in like kind of a goofy yellow suit because like trying
Yep.
to make his suit look cool doesn't make any sense.
No.
You can't make Mario and Luigi look cool in their like coverall jumpsuit things.
But even when we finally get them in jumpsuits, they're not the right jumpsuits.
No, not even close.
There's their outfits throughout. I mean, okay, when they're in Brooklyn, because the Brooklyn part of the movie, I mean,
Kind
it's
of
not
okay.
good, but it's okay.
It's kinda-
it doesn't feel like a Mario Brothers movie necessarily, but it's like fine.
Right. Should we try to attack this movie chronologically speaking?
Let's
and like
attack
I think we
it.
can try.
I think let's see how far we can get through the movie.
It
okay?
all begins
Yeah.
with Dan Castellaneta.
Okay, so we were not able to identify this voice on the original watch, but then Mark spotted it in the credits. It is Dan Castellaneta, Homer Simpson himself, narrating the origin of Dinosaur Land.
Right. Basically, the gist of it is that, of course, where New York City is now, 65 million years ago,
Yeah.
there were dinosaurs. And when the meteorite came and killed the dinosaurs, it didn't kill all of them. It like put some of them into an alternate dimension where they evolved, like humans evolved from apes. These people in Dino Hatton evolved from dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we see this as it starts as like sort of an 8-bit kind of cartoon.
Which is kind of cute.
It's sort of cute. And like the dinosaurs are like talking to each other like, whoa, this is
Hey,
the life.
Yeah.
They're-
Nothing will ever change.
Yeah, they're like Flintstones characters at this point.
Yes. Or
Uh,
dinosaurs characters.
Yes. Or they are dinosaurs. And then like because they can't stand to commit to like an actual Mario aesthetic for more than like 2 seconds.
Right.
It does away with the 8-bit cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the meteor hits and like separates like
The
these
two
two worlds. Yeah.
Right. So that's the first prologue.
Right. Sure.
Then we have another prologue
Okay. What is the second prologue here?
where a dinosaur egg carrying a
Yes,
human
yes.
baby, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, yeah, a humanoid baby
Mhm.
is delivered outside a nun's house with a piece of meteorite also.
It's just the nun's house.
I don't know. Was it a convent?
I mean, it's
It's
like
an orphanage,
an
presumably,
orphanage.
right?
Oh, right. Sure.
Run
Yeah.
by nuns.
Yes.
Right.
So it's
in New York City, presumably.
and dropped off by
Brooklyn.
a redheaded Samantha Mathis.
Oh, really? She's playing her own mother?
Yes, it was really distracting because I knew she was Daisy, and I was like, I guess she's more recognizable to me than to normal people.
I think that's
I
right.
think I have Samantha Mathis eyes. But yeah, so a woman, a redheaded version of her with curl. She had like pin curls.
Right.
And it was 20 years ago.
Right, which is actually a little bit more in line with like the actual like Daisy design that we know, right? Like redhead and curls.
Yes.
But at this point, Daisy was just a Super Mario Land character, right? Like,
right. So just a black and white character, you're saying?
I mean,
We
I
wouldn't have
guess she
known the
probably
color
had
of
like
her?
line art in the booklet or something that
Yeah.
maybe showed her in color, but I don't really remember.
Actually, that's a good question. Outside of Super Mario Land, when is the first time that we meet Daisy as like the Daisy we know and recognize now? It's like it's got to be like a Mario Tennis game. Or
Yeah, that's my
something.
Yeah.
thought, but I don't know for sure.
And probably
Mhm.
before this game came out
Or this movie.
or this movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so Baby
so we go
Daisy.
so Baby Daisy gets dropped. Well, first it's just a dinosaur egg.
Right.
And I was very confused because it turns out the things I said earlier that I remembered about this movie,
You
I
don't
did.
remember.
I didn't remember. I remember nothing. I'm pretty sure my dad did fall asleep,
Uh-huh.
but everything else I did not remember. So a dino egg gets dropped off at the nunnery and that orphanage, and then the mom tries to I guess go back to the parallel universe to Dino Manhattan.
Do we see something happen to her? Or
she
do we just...
she gets grabbed from
Okay.
behind by Koopa.
Who at that point he's like wearing like a military outfit. So I
Yes,
think the
which
idea
is
is that
weird.
it's a military coup of the monarchy of Dino Hatton.
Yes, and
That makes
so
sense.
during the coup, she saved her child, sort of in an Anastasia way.
Somehow escapes to our world
Yes.
and drops off the egg.
Well, there seems to be like a genetic thing related to the monarchy being able to travel or open portals.
Yeah, that they seem to be exclusively able to either travel between dimensions or like manipulate this meteorite that like separated both of them.
Right, so there's a fragment of meteorite that is also with the baby.
Yes. And so because that was 20 years ago.
Right.
So then we just take a break. We jump forward 20 years to what looks like a one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, the Mario brothers are not.
They're not brothers.
First of all, they're not brothers.
Wait, which is another like one of those weird choices that we were talking about earlier, where it's like, well, we're going to adapt this like license, but we're a little embarrassed of it, or what? Like for whatever reason, we're going to start changing things. So like, why make the decision to have them not be brothers and have like Luigi be Mario's like adopted ward?
I think it's age. I think they cast Bob Hoskins, who looks to be about 45.
Yeah,
and they cast
or
John
older.
Leguizamo. I don't know why I call him Johnny Legs. And
Because it's fun.
it is fun. But Leguizamo, I think it's supposed to be like Peach's age. I think they're both supposed to be
Like 20.
20.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
believe that.
So there's such a big age difference. I think they thought rather than just have second
But like,
wife.
why at this point are they like, yeah, we got Bob Hoskins. Kids are gonna love Bob Hoskins.
I don't know. Do you remember Smee?
Or Who Framed
Framed
Roger Rabbit?
I know both, but in
Two
both of those,
beloved Hoskins performances.
those are beloved Hoskins performances. But I don't think kids respond to those.
You don't think kids
Whoa,
liked Who
whoa.
Framed Roger Rabbit?
don't think-
No. I think kids do.
Eddie
like
Valiant was a hero.
I don't think kids care about Eddie Valiant or his brother who was killed. I think as a kid, you're invested in Roger Rabbit and like all the cartoon characters.
I think
don't know.
that's an interesting take. And I believe, Patrick, that you were.
I was.
I cared about Eddie and I cared about his girlfriend.
I mean, I also think that like
What's
it's
her
I
face?
cared about his girlfriend.
I also think that it's like a recognition thing. Like it's like the whole package. Like if because I it wasn't like I knew who Ed Hoskins was or no
Bob
Hoskins.
Hoskins.
You
Eddie
still don't
Valiant.
know. You still don't
Bob,
know.
yeah, Bob Hoskins was, but I recognized him from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and
Sure.
so you're just like, I like these things.
I will half buy this argument.
Oh.
Smee, get it the hell out of here. I don't buy it. Kids don't love Smee.
But they
I liked the cartoon Smee.
Sure.
I had affection for that character more
Yeah.
than Captain Hook, but you're right. I did just pull Smee. That was an adult Ryan
that was,
pull.
that was,
that
a, that was
not
a good, it was
when
a
I was
good
little.
adult Ryan
Yeah,
Paul.
but that was not when I was a little kid. I was not thinking about Smee with him. I don't know that I even knew he was British at that point in my life.
So that's another thing. Let's talk about this. They're supposed to be Italian
Are
brothers.
they both supposed to be Italian, or is John Leguizamo Latino?
I think he's. Oh yeah, actually, that's a good
I
point.
mean,
And
he's adopted into this family.
Yeah,
anyway.
Maybe
like, I
that's
don't-
the other reason they made them not brothers. But they really could have just had Luigi's mom be Latina, and then they could have.
Also, this was the '90s. We did not care about.
No.
Like we were not sensitive to.
Yeah, all that matters is they're from
casting.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. I guess the Italian part of it really isn't. Do they mention that they're Italian? They eat at an Italian restaurant.
They
I mean,
make spaghetti.
Right.
Those women are Italian.
Those, yeah, well, that is definitely true.
No, yeah, it's like it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of this movie is like overthought.
How do you mean?
I think that they could have gotten away with doing a lot of not trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Sure. So they could have just had John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins
Be brothers.
Right. And
Right.
no one would have cared.
And
Yep.
like it the fact that he's adopted or like whatever
Mhm.
does not affect the plot in any way. Right? So like why
Yeah.
make that choice? Like, why make that
Right.
distinction
They're
when
trying,
it doesn't matter? It doesn't affect the story.
but
Well, they're trying to draw like a
Luigi
connection between
and
Luigi.
Daisy fall in love really fast. I couldn't remember what happened, so I thought maybe we were gonna find out Luigi was from this land as well.
Yeah, which
I was worried they were brother and sister because they were feeling each other a lot, and I was like, oh no.
I mean,
not
if this
again.
were an HBO movie from like 3 years ago, then like, yeah, for sure.
But instead, Luigi, I think his orphan status was supposed to make he and Daisy more compatible, but like we already were doing the love at first sight shit with them. or
Right.
stuff
Well,
with them.
let's get to that. So we have only gotten to the Mario Brothers in their apartment being sad.
Okay, yin yang shirt. I'm just trying to remember all the things I want to mention from
Oh.
that scene. One very well made bed,
Very
oh
well made
yeah,
tight.
like noticeably.
Mm-hmm. Sheets painted on.
Yep.
So Mario's on the phone. He's got their first job in weeks, probably.
But it doesn't really make sense because who called him?
Right, and so they rushed down to a construction site,
Yes.
and they were beat there by another set of plumbers.
That seemed to be
This-
related
yeah.
to the construction site.
Yeah.
So they were the Scapellis were never going to let the Mario brothers fix anything.
The thing is that all of this that we're talking about doesn't matter at all
Yeah,
to
no
the
bear-
actual
no
plot
bearing
of the
on
movie
anything.
because all of this is just a way to get them to Dino Hatton.
Yes. I think
But wait,
it's also to
does
get
this
them,
even get them to Dino Head?
well,
Yes,
it gets them
because-
to meet Daisy.
And the Scapelli
Yeah.
plumbers, right?
So-
They break a
Sure.
pipe
Yeah.
in the Dino dig site, and that's what
But that's
that's
still a little bit down the line.
I know,
here.
but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is everything we're talking about doesn't matter.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
it
I'm
does
sorry.
not affect the
We
plot
haven't
in
got to
any
their
way
van
at
breaks
all.
down.
Ugh,
Very
yeah.
important. And he has to go get bottled water because they don't have tap water. They say in
Ugh.
the city, everyone in Brooklyn has tap water.
So Mario buys a bottle of Evian for $3,
Yeah, there's some things that I think are product placement in this movie.
like that one.
That one feels product placement.
Reebok a little bit
There's
later.
a Reebok at the end, and there's a Pepsi sign that is pristine and one background shot that's just like huge Pepsi sign. And I'm like, oh, someone did a deal with Pepsi for this movie.
So then we kind of get a glimpse over into this Dino Land dig site at like the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Right.
Mhm.
Daisy's an NYU student, and she tells us, we don't actually see any of this, and this is a problem throughout the entire movie, is people just
yeah.
tell us things
Yes.
instead of we don't see them or experience them.
Oh yeah, the
Like-
movie is also lousy with like wide shots where you can't see characters' mouths, so you can ADR in some
Yep.
exposition.
Who
Tons of
knows
it.
what the plot initially was of this movie?
So Daisy is she's like an anthropologist.
Yeah.
And
Or
an
archaeologist.
archaeologist. She
Right.
tells us later that she's obsessed with like dinosaur
Mhm.
bones. Like that's what she spends her evenings doing. So I guess we're supposed to understand that she's kind of a loner
I think
a
she,
little bit. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Or like at the very least that she is obsessed with dinosaurs, and it
Well,
makes her a little weird.
the
Yeah.
nuns did see her come out of a dinosaur egg.
Which would
We
be a
don't-
totally logical explanation for
We
her
don't
obsession.
know that she knows that, but like those nuns, so like it's possible also she was told.
I'm gonna guess she doesn't know that she came out of a dinosaur egg. She doesn't.
You think those nuns
she
just
acts
never
very-
told anyone?
Would you?
Yes.
If the other nuns were there, if I was a nun
I
by
would not.
myself, I would tell no one. But if other people witnessed it, I'd be like, "Did you see what I
And
saw?"
it's like
No, but I
8
wouldn't tell- I
nuns
wouldn't
that
tell the-
swarm this egg.
I wouldn't
too.
tell the kid. It's hard enough being a teenager without being a dinosaur
No!
person. I would not. No. This is one of those things you keep a secret
You don't
till they're
even
18.
think,
Okay, but would
and
you-
the curses,
okay, would you buy
takes
them
effect.
like dinosaur toys and books about dinosaurs to like
No,
help
that's worse.
encourage?
That is
I
worse.
would
I
let
think-
I would let that child be whatever it wants to be.
Oh, you're a
Here,
better
I think
dad.
that's fine, but then when she goes off to NYU, you have to say, "Look, Daisy.
Hey, by the way,
Hey, by the way, you're a dinosaur."
no, being a freshman is hard enough. You don't need.
No, not
like-
everything can be hard
Okay,
enough.
you can say that about every phase of life. Your first job out of college is hard enough.
Well,
You don't
okay.
need to add
At what
Dino Man.
age do you tell a child that they're adopted?
Not in an orphanage situation. Like in a regular adopted situation,
Yeah.
they should just always know. You should
Hmm.
know. It shouldn't. It's traumatic to just tell them. It should just be part of their story. Like, where do babies come from? Well, sometimes they come from mommy's bellies, and in our case, we
Sure, but there's
wished
like a
for you,
oh,
and whatever.
yeah, but
you
there's
tell
like
it
there's a
magically.
time that you have to like choose to tell that narrative to them.
But you never tell I guess you just never tell the first narrative. So whenever babies come up,
I mean,
Sure.
this-
So you would I think you leave out the part where she is birthed out of a dino
Okay,
egg,
stop.
is what I'm
but
saying.
but it is where she was like abandoned and
Yeah,
like,
that's
so you
fine.
tell that part.
You're in an orphanage, so that's not a secret. You're not like we didn't all like birth you.
Yeah, not
Okay,
not
but-
all orphans were abandoned.
Abandoned at the door.
Right.
Like some of them, their mothers died in childbirth.
Sure. Yeah.
Some they were car accidents.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know where we're disagreeing.
so you tell them they were abandoned, but you don't tell them they were abandoned in an egg.
That's the part
Okay.
I would leave out.
I think you might think that you didn't see what you saw.
Say again. Oh, that the
if
nuns.
you're the nun,
Yeah.
I think you might convince yourself it didn't really happen.
Oh, sure.
But if
Especially if you're a nun, and this has to be like a crime against
I mean,
God.
it's under a sign that God made. For like, there's this big. They keep cutting to it. A big stained glass.
the God made, God crafted the stained glass window.
God's blowing glass.
No one ever told me that didn't happen. It was hard enough.
But Daisy seems actually really cool with the fact that she was abandoned as a baby, right? Because she just, well, we're not quite there yet.
Oh my God, how slow
We're going
Yeah.
real slow.
I know. That's what I'm saying. None of this matters.
None of this matters.
Okay, we haven't talked about the
She meets
payphone.
Luigi, yes.
Yes.
Luigi, who is checking their messages because
And there is a message from someone having a plumbing emergency.
from Al Bronsky. I wrote it down.
He's having a legitimate plumbing emergency.
He
and,
is screaming into their answering machine.
and Luigi hands the phone mid-message over to Daisy.
Because Daisy is like standing there to use the telephone, and he's so smitten.
Yes.
So there's like I have a lot of problems with. Again, there's a lot of that this movie like tells us and doesn't show
Mhm.
us, but we definitely should have seen the Mario Brothers be like good sympathetic
Yes.
plumbers. Like we should have had a scene at the beginning,
Yeah.
where they like are at some like old woman's house.
she
Mhm.
can't afford to
She
pay
can-
them.
and so, right, exactly. And so they like fix her stuff, and she's like, they're like, "Is this much amount of money?" And she tells them that they can't afford it, and they're like, "No problem, don't worry about it." And then they get into the van, and they're like, "How are we gonna pay rent?" Or something like that.
100%.
Yeah.
We needed like just a real quick scene to like set those stakes, and then because later they're like flipping tools back and forth, and they have like a little like saying that they're doing together and all that stuff, but none of it was established
Yeah.
earlier. So it's another one of those things where it feels made up on the spot
Mhm.
Yeah,
to
well,
make
and-
like these scenes like more like fun.
Right, and it's different for them to be like technically good plumbers and to be like morally good plumbers. Like I think we need them. No, like we need them to
No,
be
it's
good
true.
guys and not just experts.
Yeah.
Well, they're nice to. We see their familyness.
Like to each other, you
Yeah, they're nice to each other.
mean? I mean, kind of. Like John Leguizamo is like hanging out. Luigi is like
Johnny Legs.
Johnny Legs hanging out on the couch, and like Mario's berating him for like not being more.
Well-
and then like
Yeah.
he yells at him when like Luigi is driving and like taking shortcuts.
So that's another thing is that when
That doesn't pay off ever.
they're driving and it okay
It's sort
so
of
I
opposite
think it
of
was
pays off.
I think it was supposed to in the cop car
When
thing
Mario,
When
later
Mario
when
is
Mario's
driving.
but he wasn't driving by instinct.
I think it was supposed to
Okay.
pay off.
Right.
But no,
Okay.
so the part when Johnny Legs is or Luigi is driving the car.
Luigi
and-
Legs.
yeah, is driving like the truck at the beginning, and there's a huge disconnect between the way this movie is shot
Mhm.
and the way it is like either probably like in editing was tried to like molded into a family movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because the truck scene is when they're driving, it's not like shot in a fun or like exciting way. It's shot like the rest of the movie, which is like a lot of like wide shots. Everything's like very like realistic, but the music
Oh.
is working overtime
yeah,
to make
this
you
is
feel
this
like
is an Alan Silvestri score, and like it frequently feels like I made this comment during the movie that it sounds like the music that you would play when the kids are playing a trick on the babysitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like there is some mischief afoot and like no real danger
Mhm.
and no real stakes. Which is totally at odds with like you're saying, Mark, how it's like shot and edited.
yeah, and like the production design and everything. And so
Yeah.
I actually think that that's like a choice that once they like were trying to
Yeah,
start
sure.
assembling
Mhm.
this movie, and they're like, oh my gosh, this movie is
Too
the-
dark.
Yeah, too dark. Like then they asked Silvestri to like jazz it up with some
Yeah.
real like bop, 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 like music.
Yeah.
So Luigi asks Daisy out come out on a date with
Guys,
A double
none
date.
of this matters. We've got to jump ahead. This is
It's
going to
double
take way
date,
too
though.
long.
No.
It does.
We
like,
got
none of
to
this.
spend some time in this double date because it
No.
is insane how much. Look, when we get to Dino Hatton, I don't remember anything that happened. They run around, some things blow up.
There's
and
spikes
they
on
save the day.
everything.
There's spikes on everything. But Daisy says during their date, she just offhandedly says, "Oh, I was abandoned."
And everyone's like, oh.
Luigi's like,
Real
oh,
conversation
me too.
killer. Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Mario's
You're right.
my mom. And then they like make a whole like, ugh. It's like, okay, wait a minute. If he raised you,
Right. Like then like why?
yeah, maybe he was your mom, and you're like, what is your issue, Mario?
I mean, there's a little no homo there. That, like,
yeah,
but
totally.
like, how is that homo?
there's just no gender confusion, like nothing. All right. What is the
and
name of Mario's girlfriend?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I can't remember.
Deirdre.
No, that'd be awesome. It's like Vanessa or something like that.
Right,
It's
it
something
is-
very like
Yeah, and
generic.
It is
Daniela.
not
Daniela. It is
Daniela's
Daniela.
correct.
Yeah.
It's not Peach.
Tip of the hat to Sarah.
It's not Peach, and it's not like Pauline.
No.
Like there are.
Well,
this
do we
again
think
like inventing
Peach
stuff.
is Daisy's mom?
I don't know.
Do we think Peach is Daisy's mom? No, I don't.
Okay.
You thi-
I had to really
right,
think
good.
about it, but no, I don't.
All right, I had to float it.
I don't think that's true. So that's like again, going back to this weird choice. I guess I was gonna say it's a weird choice, but it's not really, because this was made at a very specific time in like Mario history,
Right.
Sure.
where now like is Mario a plumber? I guess
Mhm.
you know, like it doesn't really matter.
There was that
but-
little bit on Nintendo's website where they changed it to say like Mario used to be a plumber.
Yeah, and so but like
They've since changed it back.
Okay.
Don't worry.
but at this point in time in like 1993, Mario was Italian. Mario was a plumber. You know, like, and so
Yeah.
they really Koopa was still King Koopa. You know, he wasn't really
Yeah.
Bowser yet. And
I think he was. I think like because he's Bowser in Mario 3 and definitely in Mario World. Like Bowser's Castle, like those are definitely the names of those levels.
I just feel like this is kind of like a time capsule of
Yeah.
early Mario before
Uh-huh.
like a lot of stuff had been established. So she might like Peach might have still been Princess Toadstool.
yeah,
And
great
so they
point.
might have been
Right.
like, well, we'll go with Daisy because
that's
Daisy's
a
like
name.
a name.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: is this the origin of Luigi's like is this are we starting to see like the origin of Luigi personality? Because like we know Luigi now as like something of a coward and
Mhm.
like someone who's like kind of awkward. Is that do we owe that a little bit to John Leguizamo?
No, I don't think John
No.
You don't
Leguizamo
think
was
so?
like that at all
He's
in this
not
movie.
awkward.
I think he's awkward.
I
He's
don't
not
think
good
so.
at things, but that doesn't make you awkward.
Mm.
And he's very
He's
brave.
brave,
Like he's
yeah.
the one who's
That's
like,
true.
"Let's go. We got to go do this." And Mario's the one that's always screaming at him.
All
I
right.
mean, he also plays a lot of video games.
We
Which
don't
we
see
don't-
that.
we never
don't
see
it. We only hear about it.
We
Okay.
see him watching a lot of TV.
There's more that we got to get into in Brooklyn, and the biggest piece is the missing misses who are still a mystery.
The missing what?
The missing misses.
who are
Missing
still a
Mrs. Mystery.
There's a big New York Post headline: "Missing misses still a mystery."
Women
bunch-
are going missing in
Brooklyn.
and it's because Fisher Stevens and this other guy
yes,
who the
he's
two
an actor we've seen in other things.
yeah they have been kidnapping women looking for Daisy,
Yes.
and the only description that they have to go on is 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 head.
Which, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's like a funny line
Yes.
and a funny idea.
Mhm.
But this movie is not shot to be funny,
No.
No.
and so it's just kind of like it just kind of lies there when
Well,
you're like,
and we find out later, and I know that they kind of forgot, but like, the meteor shard is a key piece to this kidnapping.
Yes,
So like, they were looking for. So it should have been a bunch of girls with chunky necklaces,
that's what they should be looking for. Yeah,
but instead, yeah, they found a girl. Now I think there's also a weird like. Maybe it's a dinosaur thing. Like there's a weird sense stuff happening where people can like sense danger or sense the right way to go.
right,
or,
because
like,
one
feel
of
it.
them says that they can sense that like this is Daisy.
Right. So
when-
I
when they
wonder.
find her.
And
but
when they
they're also really dumb, so we don't know if that's like, is that true or is that one of those like lines that's supposed to be funny?
I don't think it's a coincidence that they kidnapped Daniela after she's been hanging out with Daisy.
Oh, you think she like has Daisy's scent.
Yes.
But then why'd they grab all the other?
The
Maybe
one
they're all
smoking a
NYU
cigarette was
students.
hanging around Daisy. the one who's actually from the Bronx
was
Or
hanging
Queens.
out with
There's
yeah,
one from
with
Sorry,
Queens.
right.
Yeah, but for having such a poor description, they grab her on the 6th try
it's not
or
bad.
7th.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
bad. Out of all the people in New York City.
Yeah, out of 8 million people. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, head,
pretty good.
2 arms, 2 legs. That could very well be men as well.
It's true.
that is true. They know they're looking for Princess Daisy, though.
Wait, but how does she get her name Daisy?
She just has it.
Okay, because it's not written on the egg.
No, I don't think so. It's not like
And-
carved into
But
it.
aren't they calling her Daisy?
Yeah.
Okay, so not to get like too much into this.
What do you mean?
But
We're pretty deep.
did the mom
Yes.
Yeah.
lay the egg?
I think the egg was just a traveling. Like it was
Oh,
she
you
gave
think
birth to
it
it,
was like the pod that they.
I
comes
don't
from
think that's
Krypton.
true. I don't
You think she
that's
lays
true.
the
You
egg?
think she laid that egg?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I don't think it's true that it was
Well,
just the carrying device, because when it breaks open, it's covered in like
Right, the goo that
In-
you that you carry.
to keep them
No, but
safe.
it's we're very specific that
Like
in
packing
Dino
peanuts.
in Dinoland they are not mammals. We know this for a fact.
They
because
have
they
a lot of hair, though.
They talk a lot of, but they are not mammals.
They're evolved from dinosaurs. Yes.
right,
Uh-huh.
but they know mammals exist, and
There's-
they talk crap about them.
Yeah.
Koopa's always like, "Ugh, these
There
mammals.
should have been like a museum of mammals or something. There should because on our planet we've got reptiles.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but maybe
Well,
no
we
mammals
only
went?
see a very specific part of
Well,
Dino
I
Hatton.
saw the globe, and it's Dino Hatton, and just
And
a
then
lot
nothing
of
else.
No, but we
desert.
see like one like stretch of Dino Hatton. Like I'm assuming Dino Hatton is a larger city, so maybe we're just not in like the museum district.
Okay, so
Sure, we haven't seen.
We
the
seem to be in
zoo.
Times Square pre
Just all the
Giuliani
time.
Yeah,
because like
it's
there's like a triple X theater
Uh
that we
Yep,
see.
I
like
was a teenage mammal.
uh-huh.
huh.
So they even fetishize
They
them.
fetishize
Yeah.
mammals. Someone
like we
in
do
their-
with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is how this movie came about, almost certainly.
I almost feel like it's a dinosaur story that somebody made into a Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to ask. One of the things I wrote down before our break, because before it got like way too long, is do you think that this movie would be as reviled if it didn't have the Mario license?
I don't
If
think it
was,
would have been made if it didn't have the Mario
Okay,
license.
but pretend it was.
Okay.
It's just a thought
I mean, like,
exercise.
there's
Like-
movies like The Goonies was made. Like, there were movies that had like weird shit in them.
Yeah, like I feel like this would have just been like it wouldn't have been this expensive for sure, but
Sure.
it would have just been like an unremarkable kids movie, right? If it didn't
Yes.
have like the Mario license, if it didn't have those like expectations, because
I mean, the thing
it's not like
that's-
it's worse than like I would say it's on par with Hook. I think that movie's terrible.
Hook has more
Whimsy.
whimsy,
More
and it has
style,
more
too.
relationships between the characters that are like
That's true. That's very true.
human. Whereas like this is like, yeah, we have like Luigi falling in love with Daisy, but even that is so thin because it's just like the script tells them to be in love, so they're in love. And the brothers, there's really nothing. I mean, I guess they're brothers, but
Yeah.
they're not brothers. I'm sorry. I guess they're ward and keeper.
Right, and like Luigi's want is Daisy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they don't care
And
about
Mario
Dino
has
Hatton at
no
all.
want.
And Mario just his want is just to get out of there, I guess.
I think
but he
wants to
doesn't
keep
even
his
really
brother
express
safe,
that.
But he doesn't really express it.
I mean, Ryan, in the last episode, you had expressed that like you hope that there was some sort of adult theme buried in here that like you weren't able to pick up on when you were a kid, and there isn't.
There isn't.
Right? I mean,
I had hopes because there was like they were struggling for money and all this stuff, and like maybe he was gonna find out fame doesn't give you everything, or find out like being brave and being a hero is not about success.
right, and there's not even really a like learn to trust. Like Mario doesn't learn to trust Luigi or anything
No.
like that, which seems like it might be a point of contention between them at the beginning of the movie.
The one thing I did like is that, and I was a little surprised, is that Daisy and Luigi don't end up together. Like,
Right.
like
Oh,
it's not
sure.
like Luigi's reward at the end of this is not Daisy, like going back to Brooklyn with him.
Right.
Daisy's like, yeah, I like you too, but I have other stuff I have to do that's
Right.
more important.
Right, I
Then
just
this-
met I was abandoned, remember? I just
Right.
met my father.
Did she even meet him yet?
she met the goo and she
She
seemed
met the
fine
goo.
with
That's
it.
right. She did want to
She
get
was
to know
really
the
into
goo.
the goo.
And so I did actually like that because I kept
Mhm.
expecting her
To
or
give
like
up.
him to stay or
Yeah.
like her to be like, or even at the end for her to like show up at the door
Mhm.
and be like, now I'm ready to kiss you or
Yeah.
whatever. But she doesn't. She shows up and she's like wearing like a combat
She looks
Right,
awesome.
like
she's-
holster. Like she's
She's
like,
calling him back into
she's
action.
calling back
yeah.
into action. And so I did like that. I actually
Mhm.
thought that was surprising because that's not usually how like movies like this, especially movies that are totally geared like aimed towards boys.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they don't usually end like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I had fewer like gender problems and like I didn't
Yeah.
have as many. It wasn't a problematic movie. It was just bad.
Yeah.
Which, although, like, and that is a little bit like that's unique or special.
Yeah,
of,
I know.
of
And
the
it's
era.
only remarkable because so many other movies of its time were bad.
So Luigi and Daisy go back to the dig site.
I can't
Oh my
believe
God,
we're
I
only
can't
this
believe
far.
it.
They go back to the dig site.
Wait, do we want to talk about how like Bob Hoskins kisses his girlfriend on the hand to say goodnight? It's very cute. And
He
then she gets
does?
kidnapped.
Oh,
Yeah, he doesn't kiss her. He kisses her. He goes "Mwah," on her little hand, and then she goes. And then she
Mario's
gets
a
kidnapped.
gentleman.
It's very sweet.
And then she gets kidnapped. But that's sort of we'll discover this, and he will discover this later.
Yeah, we know all along. He doesn't find out until very late in the film.
So Luigi and Daisy go to the dig site,
Yeah.
and they just because she's like showing them around, right? And that's when they discover that the plumbing has been attacked,
Sabotaged, yeah.
by the Scapelli construction company because they want
Scapellis.
access to that land.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
They want to stop the dig because they can't continue their construction while the dig's happening.
Right. And so Luigi goes back home, I guess,
That part was
gets
pretty.
Mario.
But I guess it's pre-cell phones. But it was like, there's an emergency happening right here, Luigi.
Right, it kind of de-escalates it.
Well, yeah, it's another one of those things where you're just like, why? Like, why is that? Why did you write yourself into that
Yes.
situation?
Right,
instead
like
of
why
just
didn't
having, like,
Mario just give him a ride?
Exactly, and then Mario's waiting in the van. They walk down. They have like their like alone time then,
Yes.
and then the thing breaks, and so they just run back up to the van. It's like those little things. You're like, oh, this was not.
Do you think it was
well
trying to be
conceived.
like because that part Luigi goes and gets Mario's help, and then later when they're fixing the meteor at the climax, Luigi does it without Mario.
Oh,
do you
that's
think that was
interesting.
supposed to be a parallel?
It definitely doesn't play that way, but it's
No.
hard to know if that's because it wasn't conceived that way or
Mhm.
if it just
wasn't
was
executed
flat.
that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then when Luigi does fix the meteorite by himself, skipping all the way to the end, he only does it because Daisy like pulls him into it.
Well, and he doesn't really fix it by himself. Like he uses his tools, which again we never really see them use their tools
Mhm.
before, and like it's not established that Luigi's clumsy or like bad
Right.
at using
Right.
his tools or anything. They seem totally proficient. But he's like, yeah, she's having a hard time getting the extract of the meteor
Yeah.
like out of whatever it is that they're putting it into. I guess the rest of the meteor.
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
they're trying to like make it whole. And so she pulls Luigi in, and Luigi's like, "Oh, I have like my tools that we can use,"
and they do.
but they do it together. Like she
Yeah.
helps.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think she's kind of apprentice. Once the tools come out, I think he's now
The
Mario,
master, for
and
sure.
she's the Luigi.
Uh huh.
Mm.
But yeah, no, the movie doesn't set that up well. But I just wonder if that was part of the thought is like the two of Luigi and Daisy have an issue. We need Mario. And then later the two of them handle it on their own. I was surprised that Mario didn't fix that too. Because he was already fighting Koopa. I thought he was going to fight Koopa and come and also save them.
That fight is
But-
also very unsatisfying. Mario v. Koopa.
I wish that they had set, and I said this during the time, if they had set up Babam like in the first act, and we just kept cutting back to it every once in a while, just like tick 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 tick, because it's a little toy.
Right.
It's
With
like a wind up
tiny- it's a
toy that
wind-up
like you would
toy.
get it like in a Happy Meal or something.
Yeah, so if we had just seen like Mario being a weirdo and like winding it really hard, and then letting it go, not knowing what it would do, and then later it paid off, that could
would be
have been really
something,
fun.
right.
But instead, it's the end of the movie, and the movie's already 40 minutes too long, and you're like, we have to sit and wait for this bomb to go off.
Well, because Mario winds it up and puts it down, and you can see it like start to walk.
Yeah.
And it is so slow because it's just a little like wind up toy.
Right.
It's never gonna make it there.
And I think that obviously was supposed to be like played for humor.
Uh-huh.
Right. But again, this movie's
none
not
of the
really built
pieces
for
like
it.
come together for that. I think the other reason why that fight is so unsatisfying is they don't really have conflict. right? Like Koopa wants Daisy,
Well,
and
Koopa
like
wants to murder all of our people.
right, but I mean, like like like
Put that aside for a second.
I'm just saying that like Mario and like Koopa, they aren't really,
Yeah, they
th-
don't have opposing.
there's nothing
wants.
right, exactly. They don't have like there's nothing really between them. So
Right.
like Mario could be anybody in this situation
Yeah.
that's gaining Koopa's way, and so yeah, they like fight each other because that's what you do in a third act,
Mhm.
but it's not.
Yeah.
You don't feel anything.
Right. It would have been better if if
Big Bertha.
Big Bertha or Toad, like somebody, because Toad actually was hurt by Koopa. Like Koopa directly de-evolved him.
Oh yeah, okay. So here's the thing:
Yeah. What?
is that there's a
Oh yeah, we haven't. That's a pretty big.
We're not even in Dino Hatton
yeah.
yet.
So Koopa has a machine that like can evolve someone further or de-evolve them.
And
So-
what exactly that means seems to be just totally contingent on whatever they need it to mean.
Yeah, like I think the idea is because the implication is that Koopa, I guess not the implication, they straight up say it, is that Koopa like de-evolved Daisy's father, the king,
Yes.
way back to just being like a fungus.
Yes.
But then you can like not go that far back and dial it a little bit up if you just want to be in like the Cretaceous period or something
Yes.
like that.
It's by period.
Right. So Koopa is turning people into what he's calling Goombas,
Uh-huh.
which I remember this bothering me as a kid, like a ton, because they are like 8-foot tall creatures with tiny heads,
Which doesn't make any sense.
which is not a Goomba.
They don't even move like Goombas, really.
Yeah, they don't
Kind of
really,
when they dance, maybe.
they don't look like anything in
No.
like Mario. They're not
No.
Koopas. They're not Koopa Troopas,
right.
and they're not Goombas.
No.
But
they're
they,
just kind
they
of
are
like
closer
reptilian.
to Koopa Trooper.
It would have been
Koopa
cool if they
Troopas.
were
Yeah.
Koopa, like if they.
But they're not turtles.
But
you know,
they
they don't have
coulda
like shells
turtleized
or
them.
anything.
Yeah.
They're just like big. The other thing that's interesting is that there are regular dinosaurs. So there are still
Yes.
just like there are these evolved dinosaurs,
Yeah.
and then there's just dinosaurs, like these two little puppet
Yeah,
dinosaurs
that show up
Yes.
everywhere.
that show up everywhere. And then Yoshi is
Uh-huh.
ostensibly in this movie, and he's just a pet, like he's just a dinosaur.
I thought we were gonna find out he was a devolved.
I thought so
but
too.
no,
Yeah, well,
he's just a
there's a
pet.
moment when he is when Yoshi rescues Daisy, right?
Yes.
And like he gets the knife pulled out of him. We're skipping all over the place.
Well, no, like he doesn't. Does
I
he
guess
rescue?
he doesn't rescue her.
Yeah,
He just
she
comes
just like
to
he
say
just shows
hi.
up.
Oh, he did sort of rescue her from Lena in an
Right. 'cause
earlier
she-
scene.
Yes, but
Uh,
then
oh,
Lena
that's
got
right.
away.
Yeah. But then the Yoshi's kind of like nudging at a gun because like everything in this
Mhm.
universe is also guns, like all the
Which is
remote control,
weird.
which is weird.
Because that's not really
That's not
a
a Mario thing.
thing. Like bombs and cannons, but
Yeah, but not guns.
Yeah.
And so we were like, oh, so we're gonna see Yoshi like re-evolved into like this is what I thought, that he was
Yeah.
gonna be like a human and like another like member of the royal family that was
he's gonna be-
turned into a
He was
dinosaur.
gonna be Daisy's betrothed, and then she'd be in a love triangle between Luigi and Yoshi, and how would it ever work out?
I mean, that's perfect.
I mean, I think Yoshi should have been her dad, right? Like I know
that
that
would
they
have been really cool.
I know that they use like
Mm.
the dad's been developed into this fungus, and the fungus is everywhere throughout Dino Hatton, and it's like helping the Mario Brothers. Like it saves them from
Yes.
falling, and it like gives them items when they need it. But
It's such a stretch though that like it doesn't, because like what do you think the filmmakers think fungus is? Because it's like spider webs and
Yep.
it's like slime.
also like Koopa, played by Dennis Hopper,
Mhm.
he's like a germaphobe.
yes,
He's talking about how there's like fungus everywhere. He's the one that created this fungus. Like if you don't want it, just eradicate it.
right. Well, and we know that if you dial the devolver back far enough, you become ooze.
Right, because that's
Just-
how Koopa ultimately dies.
So just make the king. Why is
Just
the king
ooze 'em.
still alive? Like it would be one thing if it was like a coup, like a what do you call it, like a puppet government, and they're like, oh no, the king is still there. I'm just prime minister or something.
Well, and like
But they don't. He says multiple times, "I didn't kill him." He
Right.
seems to have killed
Mm.
the queen, but like he says, "I didn't kill him." But it's like, why didn't you kill him? You are very evil.
Well, and like it seems this is another one where it's like they're sort of taking from the source material, like
Mhm.
Mario 3, every level the king has been transformed,
Right.
right? But like they're like not
They don't commit to it. They're
They-
like embarrassed
yes.
of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, Fiona Shaw totally should have been her mom, and
That would be
who
great.
who like whatever, like he told her that they found Daisy and like killed her,
Mhm.
and so she's like with Koopa but doesn't really like him, and so when she finds out that Daisy's alive, she like turns on Koopa 'cause she's like, I
Yes.
can't believe you kept this from me all this time.
Mhm.
As is, she's just like the best part about the movie, anyways.
Yes.
Right. Well, I mean, it's weird that there are good actors and actresses in this movie. Like Fiona Shaw is a great actress.
It's a stacked cast, like Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's a good cast.
Yeah, and Fisher Stevens, as we said before, like there are good actors in here,
Mhm.
but it's just like they can't do anything with any of them. And even
Yeah.
like Fiona Shaw's arc, where she like she's like, forget it, I'm going to unite these worlds like by myself. She ends up just like getting blasted into like her skeleton just gets
Yep.
blasted into the cave wall, and it's just done.
Yep.
Like none of it, like everything we were talking about in Brooklyn. None of this matters.
None of it matters.
It's what the Super Mario Brothers movie is. What happens when people who don't know or like the source material adapt the source material.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does feel resentful of the source material.
Like, oh, this stuff doesn't make sense. I'll make it make sense. Oh no.
And the thing is, even the stuff that they like invent that like seems like it could be kind of cool, that they can't really commit to either. Because so when the Mario Brothers like first are having their like adventure in Dino Head, and they
Yeah.
meet Big Bertha,
Right.
right? Who steals the piece of the meteorite from
Mhm.
them, and like she seems to be part of a, if not like an actual like organized like militaristic resistance to Koopa, is at least like part of the underground like punk scene.
It's seemingly everybody in Dino Hatton like dislikes Koopa.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of like dystopian.
yes.
Not kind of. It's awful.
Yeah.
Right. It's like Mad Max, but
yeah.
in New York.
Mad Max in a warehouse.
Yeah, that's
is
right.
Yeah.
Basically
Dressed
like
up
A
to
the-
look
little.
like
I'm sure that the people who made this saw Blade Runner.
Oh, for
like
sure.
they were aware
Oh.
of that. I think.
But like, so she,
nobody seems to like Koopa.
right? But like, this character seems like she's like strong and like assertive and steals this thing, right?
Well,
And
because
then-
there's the granny.
There's this granny who's also trying to steal it. This is a horrible world that they've created.
Well, there's one granny and she's evil. Like, why? There's bad guys in. Like, why couldn't she have been a shy guy? Like, why? There's bad guys
Right.
in Mario.
Right.
What?
You don't need to have like a grandma who's a villain.
Yeah. What's the bait and switch?
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be played for laughs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because like there's that whole setup where she's like, "You guys seem lost."
Do
yeah,
you have weapons?
Uh-huh.
What kind of question is that?
I was hoping she was gonna open her sweater and have weapons.
I
in
thought,
there.
yeah, and like trying to like sell
them weapons.
Mhm.
Oh,
is
that
what
would've
I
been good.
wanted. Because then whatever. I want grannies to be your friend.
Yeah.
I don't want mean
I want
grannies.
that too. I don't want mean
This
grannies.
is a mean granny.
I don't need a mean granny.
I mean,
Well,
if-
maybe she was nice to like her grandkids. Maybe she's
Maybe.
just mean because it seems like a dog eat dog world.
yes.
Yes.
So
That's
maybe
true,
she's
she's-
just like fighting for her own.
Yeah, she's doing what she has to do. Also, okay, so the resistance thing is interesting. Because they also could have set it up that Big Bertha was taking away the meteorite because she didn't trust the Mario Brothers motives.
Sure, that she was just going to like keep it safe or something.
Right, but she seems to just keep it and then she's okay when it gets stolen back.
Well, we said this while we were watching, but it's a real game recognized game moment when Mario takes it from her.
But ultimately, she has a moment with Luigi later. It doesn't, like,
And none of it. Yeah, this is So this
Oh,
is
is
like
that when she gives him the boots that make him jump?
yes. Like, why? She should be giving. Mario's her friend. Luigi's just some guy.
who's with him.
Also, is she the only like featured black actor or character in this movie?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, it's a pretty white movie. I mean, Leguizamo's not white, so there's a little bit more variety there. But yeah, no, it's a pretty white movie.
It's a pretty white movie.
There's a part where they're in the desert,
Mhm.
which whatever. Like
They escape to the desert.
They escape to the desert, and Johnny Legs is not wearing a shirt.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a great scene.
Yeah, it's great. I thanks filmmakers.
and he's wearing a rainbow belt.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is.
Probably
wink
like
and
a
nod.
Mork and Mindy type way.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
fine.
That's true.
Yeah.
In
But it
like
was-
a goofy kind of way.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was nice for us.
It was nice.
Yeah, we were happy for a moment.
I mean, I was like, why do you have to get? Here's the other thing: we are waiting the whole movie for them to wear the right outfits.
Yeah,
And
and they
they
never do.
They never do. Even when we have their big hero moment,
Uh-huh.
they're red and blue
No,
and blue and green and blue.
well, I mean, they're sort of doing the. Is it like the Mario 1 sprites where they are wearing overalls that are red or green, depending on which one it is, and their shirts are blue, and then like everything else since then has corrected it to their overalls are jeans
Right, that's what
they're
humans
overalls,
wear.
and then they wear red and green shirts. Like I think, like what is it that they're? Or are they just like green? Luigi wears green. Don't check any pictures. He wears green.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I could also see it just be like, we know that it's green and red, and then do whatever we want otherwise, because they don't seem particularly beholden to the source material.
No,
That's true. And like when they're wearing other clothes, they don't code them to those colors
which is
either.
crazy because like they're just wearing hoodies. Why couldn't Luigi's hoodie be green?
Right.
Because
Or
Mario's wearing. I think Mario's wearing like
His like jacket has
His
like
ja-
red
yeah.
lining,
right.
but
Yeah.
that could just be a mistake, like an accident. You know, like it
Right,
wasn't
right.
actually like they were like Mario is red. We associate those like colors together because it's not like their truck has any interesting like
No.
art on it.
Also,
No.
Like,
what a missed opportunity that truck. That truck should have been like the cover of
Yeah.
Super Mario 1 or
yeah,
whatever. Like
absolutely.
it like there's why make
Mario
the
leaping like holding like a wrench or something.
yeah,
That's
there
fantastic.
there are almost no like extra references to like they're not having fun with it, right?
No.
There was one thing I noticed early in the movie is that they're driving by and there are awnings that say Mr. Video
Yes.
on them, which was like an original like name for Mario before
Mhm.
they like named him.
Well, did you
as
see
Mario?
next to what it was?
What was
So it was
it?
Mr. Video and then it was Mr. Video 2 with like the like eyes. Roman numeral 2.
So
Well,
So
yeah, you
something
get
had
that.
fun.
I mean, you get that a lot, like in the background in Dino
Hat.
Hatton. You know, there's like Thwomp Bar or whatever. You know, like Hammer Bros, like
Right.
that kind of
I
stuff.
think this was in Brooklyn, but I wrote back a background sign that was Great Menus Publications.
I saw that as well.
Wait, what?
And there
Yeah.
were like restaurant menus
Uh-huh.
in the window.
Yeah, it's when I think it's when Luigi and Daisy are like
Yeah,
walking down
yeah.
the street, and
When
he's
yeah.
they're both weirdly like they both give up really quickly, where they're like, "You're probably not gonna like me."
Yeah,
He's like,
oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's
"We
true.
could just like call this off," and she's like, I'm a dinosaur weirdo. Like, you don't
Uh,
want to be with me."
Well, he says like, "What? Are you busy later? Because I want to walk you home."
This is while they're on the date.
Yeah, like you can ask if you can walk someone home, but like, are you busy later? Implies you're gonna add plans. Like, are you busy later? Let's go see a movie. Are you busy later? I mean, we're at dinner. It's kind of weird to say, "Are you busy later?" But like I want to walk the bridge with you, or I don't know, some Brooklyn activity. But instead he's like, "Are you busy later? I want to walk you home. I'm done. Are you busy later? Because I'm gonna take you home now. I'm done with this. I'm over it."
You should make plans.
So throughout the entire movie, there's like the Alan Silvestri score,
Yeah.
and it's all whenever like something that's supposed to be funny is happening, and
or any other time
Right.
too.
But towards the end, there's this sequence where Mario and Luigi have frozen the pipes
Yes.
in Dino Hatton, which is a bad name. Like, Dino Hatton is awful.
Yeah.
I hate saying it.
You want to call it D-Town?
D-Town. So they freeze the pipes in D-Town, and
I
they're
don't like it. Never mind.
I like it way less.
They're-
Trying to make it sound good makes it worse.
their escape. They're all the missing misses.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to escape with them, or Mario is breaking them
Yes.
out.
Mhm.
And so they jump on Goomba mattresses, which just regular mattresses.
Yep.
And they're sliding down the pipe
Yes.
and being chased by Goombas also on a
Mhm.
mattress. The music starts shredding.
Yeah.
It suddenly becomes Tony
Yeah.
Hawk's Pro Skater.
Right. And
Amazing.
we were all sort of feeling it, right?
It was the best scene of the movie.
I actually, whenever they licensed music, that was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Like you got Walk the Dinosaur.
Walk the Dinosaur was
Mhm.
great.
We had to look up those lyrics to make sure that we understood that it was Walk the
You
Dinosaur.
gotta everybody walk. The
Everybody
dinosaur.
walk the
Everybody
dinosaur.
do it. Also, okay, there were a few moments that I did enjoy. I liked that when they went to, what do you call reception at a cop place, at a police station? Booking. And they were talking to who seems to be the captain of police, we find out later, but a policeman who looks like a normal policeman from Central Casting, except he is getting his neck massaged by a leather spike heel.
Yeah,
attached to a woman. Sorry, a woman is using her foot to massage his
Right,
trapezius
from
muscles.
off screen.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
It is attached in the normal way to her foot.
Yeah, no, it's very
Presumably,
normal.
we only see the leg.
Yeah, the only weird part is the location, the massage. I guess that's it.
But that sequence is also, again, where there's like tonal dissonance because they're getting processed for jail,
right?
And like being deloused or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, not really, but they have like goop dropped on them, and like again, the music's like oompa 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 oompa, but like the visuals don't match the
horrific.
energy at all.
Yeah.
So
and it's coming right off the heels of Mario and Luigi explaining their names to the guy, which is stupid and pointless. And maybe, like you were saying, is supposed to be played for laughs, but like just doesn't work. Like the Mario, Luigi Mario thing, it just is confusing. I remember talking about it as a kid and like trying to figure out what it meant, and like it doesn't mean anything. It's just
that's
it's so frustrating.
And that is we talked about in the previous episode on Tuesday. That, what does this new Super Mario Brothers movie look like? The one that Illumination Entertainment is producing. Yeah. And one of the challenges I think of developing a Mario movie is that, like, you can't really ascribe meaning to anything in the Mario universe because Nintendo doesn't, right? They play fast and loose with it because their primary concern is not narrative continuity between games. It's fun.
Or even narrative continuity within a Mario game. Like, they mostly just want you to put you in a space where you can jump over something that's going to harm Mario and like get up to a higher platform. Like, that's it.
Yeah, so for like Nintendo, when they're making these games like Super Mario Brothers, what does that name mean? It doesn't matter, right? Like it doesn't it has no bearing. Whereas like in a movie like this, especially one who seems they want to make everything realistic and literal in a not fun way, then it doesn't surprise me that they came up with a ostensible joke that their last name is Mario. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Iggy and Spike at all?
A little.
Okay,
so Iggy and Spike are the henchmen.
Right.
But then we find out at the end that they were working for the good guys all along.
But did they only start working for the good guys because
they say they did.
Koopa evolved
they got like
them?
galaxy brain?
I think they said were doing it all along.
Okay.
And we don't really have proof they weren't because they were very bad at finding Daisy.
Yes.
They brought a bunch of other people to theoretically stall Koopa.
Yeah, so maybe they were working for the Resistance the whole time.
And then they didn't deliver the Rock and Daisy to Koopa.
Right.
But that wasn't on purpose. Like,
I mean, who knows what they would have done with the Rock if it had gotten stolen. I'm just saying, are we to take them at face value or is it a lie? Because Fisher Stevens straight up says, I've been on the good guy side the whole time I was a spy.
Oh, for some reason I thought that it was like when they got further evolved or whatever, when they went from being dumb to smart. Because, there's that scene where, I mean, maybe it's like moments before, but when they confront Koopa and they're like, you're a oppressor of the masses and all that kind of stuff. Like that, in my mind, was like the moment where they turned. But you're right. He does straight up say, I've been working for the Resistance the entire time.
He's a slime ball, so he could lie.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? The characters are so thin that like it doesn't, like any turn is like, okay. Like it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it also is interesting because there's also like seems to be a contempt for smart people. Because when they evolve these two guys to the next level, they use $50 words. They use big words, but they are still just as dumb as they've always been, which made me be like, you can use big words and be smart.
Like, it's okay.
Big words are not a paper dragon. Like, it's real. They have meaning. Each word they're using has
Ryan,
meaning.
this movie's not attacking you, okay?
I felt attacked. I always feel attacked when people attack my vocabulary.
Well, I know, and I think that's
that does seem. I hate it. It's rude. I don't make fun of you for using bad words.
Thank
Use words
you.
that aren't good.
Wait, you think I use words that aren't good?
Potty mouth.
I use all the
Patrick.
good words. Their names are Iggy and Spike, right?
Yep.
Iggy is one of the Koopa kids,
Mm-hmm.
and Spike is just like a random Mario 3 enemy
Yeah.
who has since like shown up in like he's in like Mario Tennis Aces and like other stuff like that. Why do you think they would have pulled like? Why are those the two characters that they pulled to like represent, or is it totally arbitrary?
I think they are kind of like generic 50s greaser names.
Okay.
And so it wouldn't surprise me if they had like a list of names from the Mario universe,
Right.
and they had these two characters, and they're like, oh, Iggy and Spike, like that. Actually, I think it fits that like archetype.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Is this the 90s? The time of JTT, Ryder Strong. Why does Toad not have a mushroom haircut?
Oh,
He has a
man.
weird like spiral.
He has
haircut.
a weird spiral haircut.
Or
but
no,
like,
it's a
it was-
target. It's not even a spiral.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
Or is it? Or was it? Was it a
I
target?
don't
or was
remember.
It a
It's-
spiral?
he
it's
does have
circles
what do you
for
call
sure.
it? It's cut in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he
Well, and Dennis Hopper has awful hair too. Like
they all
well,
have
he's
like
supposed to
really
have
gross
spiky
hair.
right, but it's like back in rows. Like it's like
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
like-
little mohawks on the top of his
And
head.
one of either Iggy or Spike, they have like weird tentacle things
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
at the end of their hair. So it's definitely a choice to be like
Sure, but
the dinosaur people
his
have.
head could have
have
been
bad
more
hair.
mushroomy. He could have had a mushroom
For sure,
cap
especially
on.
because Toad, not a dinosaur, not like evolved from dinosaur. I mean, in this story, I guess, but like as a Mario character,
Right.
Also,
I mean, none of the Mario
okay, what did we?
characters.
How did we feel about his little songs?
I was okay with it. I
I
don't
could
know.
have done with more little songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I like it just more having a better glimpse into like the culture of the Koopa resistance
Yes.
would have made the whole movie feel more full. Like
Mhm.
as it is, it feels like it is a like a stunt show turned into like a full length movie.
Yep.
Right? Like if this was 20 minutes and it was at Universal Studios next to Waterworld, like I'd be into it.
Yeah.
people are falling over railings.
Yeah.
And like at the end, a big like T-Rex comes out of the like pot of gold. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
A leprechaun's like
yeah.
pot of gold, like comes out, and then they take bazookas and sparks shoot out of it, and
Right.
then
Mhm.
like an
And then there's
explosion.
a fire, a column of fire, and then
Yep.
it
Well,
disappears.
and I would love to watch a man become a monkey too.
Oh yeah,
That would have been great in this stunt show that's only 20 minutes long.
Oh yeah, okay. So at the climax of this movie, they do manage to merge the dimensions, and Bowser and some Goombas.
Nope, Koopa.
Koopa.
There is no
Koo-
Bowser.
Yeah, Koopa
There
and
is
some
no
Goombas
Bowser.
and Mario are like transferred to Brooklyn, modern day Brooklyn, and
To the dig site.
to the dig site, so that Koopa can turn Scapelli into a monkey, and everybody, these like weird, scary looking Gooba type things,
Mhm.
just emerged into this world. Everybody stops and laughs at Scapelli being turned
Yeah.
into a monkey. Nobody is concerned. For a moment, we all forgot our concerns about the dimensions merging.
It
Mhm.
did. It
So
brought us
we
all
could
together.
all have a good laugh at Scapelli's expense.
Even Scapelli's like goons are
They're-
like, boss, why'd you turn into a monkey?
Yeah, like it was his choice.
Don't you want to be a man no more, boss? Yeah.
Monkey in a suit is real funny.
Monkey in a suit was fun. And he was a bad guy. He kind of threatened to kill Daisy.
Totally.
And he's definitely mobbed up. So the world is better.
Which is crazy because when he hints at the beginning of the movie when he's like, oh, a lot of girls have been disappearing, maybe you're next, I thought like he's got to be connected to the disappearance.
Yeah.
No, he is actually just capitalizing on something
Yeah.
horrible that is
Yep.
happening in his
All
world.
the Scapelli stuff, totally unnecessary.
No,
you
they
don't
coulda
need
cut it
any
all.
of it. Like it could just be a dig site in Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the water main could break. You
But-
know,
And
they
they
could
call
just
the
they
Mario
could just
Brothers.
they could just grab Daisy. Like
Yeah,
you know, they could all be at the dig site and they just like all this stuff is so pointless. It's so pointless. It just pads the movie.
Oh,
Oh God,
I feel exhausted.
I
yeah,
do
it
too.
was a lot.
It's been a
Okay.
lot. We did it.
And my worst moment.
Oh yeah. Please.
The king goes from fungus to man for no reason. We don't see any other Goombas get undone.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with Koopa getting primordial oozed up.
Right. Has
Right.
nothing to do with them like breaking the meteor, like
Yeah, like
extracting the
extracting
piece
out
of
of
the
the
Yeah,
meteor.
no, nothing. He just comes
He
back.
just comes back for when they have a gun that makes you come back.
Right. Right. We could have seen how this
All
happened.
it would have taken is like show us like, oh, how cute if it was Yoshi had
Oh,
gotten the
yeah.
little gun and
With
he
his
just
3
he
little
saw,
fingers?
Yeah, and he just went toot, toot, and then pressed the button.
Or even, I don't know, Daisy and Luigi come
Yes.
back. They turn him into a man. They get Daisy and her father can reunite,
That would
and
be
we get
lovely.
like
On
see
screen.
it.
Yeah. And then he has like one line, right?
I'm back, bitches.
Yeah, that's what he says. He says, "I'm back, bitches."
He says like, "I love those plumbers" or something. Or like,
Yes.
"I'm
Yeah.
a man. I love those plumbers," or like something like that.
Right. But
Yeah,
again,
the-
the plumbers didn't do it. It just happened.
Right.
Sorry. It's
And how does
such
he know
a
that they're
plot hole.
plumbers?
Well,
Because
he knows
that's the
everything.
one
Oh,
thing.
sure. You're right. He's
sentient.
everywhere.
He's
everywhere.
sentient fungus.
That's the one thing that they will not stop repeating about the Mario Brothers is that they are plumbers. They are plumbers. It's the only thing that we know.
I think someone thought that was funny.
That like plumber is like the only identifier that they.
Well, and that like
Or just
saying,
that like
"Oh,
plumbers
those
are.
plumbers," like treating plumbers like they're heroes or rascals. I think somebody thought that itself was humorous.
So too many ideas or not enough ideas in this movie?
Okay, I am gonna say the right amount of ideas, the wrong amount of ideas for a Mario Brothers movie.
Interesting.
I think it could be its own bad movie.
Yes, I agree.
And I
yeah.
think it has largely been like turned into that, right? Like it is. It's. Well, no one like holds this as part of like Mario canon.
And there's nothing like identifiably Mario Brothers about it, other
Mm.
than the names, right? Like if
No, you're
if
right.
you held up pictures, if,
If
you,
you change the names, I wouldn't tell you it's a Mario Brothers movie.
it's just about a dinosaur kingdom in like
Well, it's like
an
it
alternate
posits,
Brooklyn
yeah,
dimension. Yeah.
what happened if when the meteor came, the big one, we split and some people evolved from dinosaurs.
Maybe it
into
was.
humans.
Maybe it was a spec script that they like grafted Mario.
Yeah,
stuff
they're like,
feels
onto.
like
there are
it.
dinosaurs in Mario, right? And someone else was like, not really.
There's Yoshi.
Let's
Almost
do
like a
it.
dragon, really. No one really knows what Yoshi is. All right, guys. I think we've done this. I don't know that we can talk about this anymore. Like I can see like Mark aging as we talk about this.
It's like being president.
Yes.
Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a good time.
Is there anything that you would like to plug, Ryan?
Yes. I do a show called Same Day Shipping, a show where we talk about fictional relationships and get really invested in the romantic elements thereof with my friend Patrick.
That's me.
As well as Colin Morris and Kelly Nugent. And then if you want to like follow me on the internet, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @RMogge. That's RMOGGE.
All good things to do. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this awful
Thanks.
movie with us.
Thanks for having me. I would love to come back someday and not talk about this movie.
Maybe when there's a real like a new Mario movie, then we'll reunite.
Oh my god, you guys heard it on it's on the
It's on
It's
the
in the
record.
record.
Yeah, it happened.
Put it in the book.
I don't know how, but we did it. We're through it. How did you enjoy this movie, listener? You should write to us, Nintendo Cartridge Society
At gmail.com. We can be each other's support
Yeah,
in this trying time.
yeah. If nothing else, it would just be nice to hear from someone. It would just be nice.
A light in the darkness.
Yeah. So we can find our way home.
And also, maybe you weren't able to watch this movie with friends.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, geez.
Let us commiserate with you.
Yeah, I mean, we just did. There's like an hour of it.
But
you
let
can-
us
you can
react
email us.
directly
Yes,
to your
that's right,
feedback.
That's right. Because I think we will be talking about this experience to our therapist for years to come.
Yeah, and after we recorded, there were other things that we were like, oh, we didn't bring up that. Oh, we didn't bring up that.
Right.
So let us know what we left out.
Yeah, because look, the conversation never needs to end. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts. That helps us out tremendously. If you like this episode and you want to inflict it on someone else, please share it on whatever social media platform you choose. On Twitter, I am at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MK Mitchell, and the show is at Nincart Society. We're also on Facebook, and the Facebook page is also just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. If you would like more of 8-Bit Betty's music, you can go to 8bitbetty.com, or you can listen right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you so much for listening, watching that movie, and then listening again. It means a lot. Okay, thanks.